The elevator doors slide open on the 42nd floor, and Cashin Rourke steps into the lobby of the Aurelius Royale like a man who's never been told no in his entire life. Rain hammers against the floor-to-ceiling windows. Thunder rolls through Manhattan's steel canyons. Inside, though, everything glows. Chandeliers dripping light across marble, so polished it reflects sins back at you. Gold trim catching every flicker, the kind of luxury that makes you forget consequences exist. Cashin's neck tattoos crawl up his jawline, dark ink against darker intent. His black suit fits like armor. Beside him, Morella Dane moves in a sparkling red dress that clings to every curve, her short wavy hair bouncing with each click of her heels. She laughs at something he whispers, head tilted back, completely unaware that tonight will destroy everything she thinks she knows about power. They cross the lobby toward the front desk. His hand rests on the small of her back. Possessive, practiced, entitled. Behind a marble counter, Juniper Reyes watches them approach. She's in her green uniform, name tag perfectly straight, smile professionally warm. But her eyes? Her eyes catch details most people miss. Like the way Cashin's fingers grip Morella's waist a little too tight. Like the way Morella's laugh sounds rehearsed. Like the wedding ring Cashin forgot to take off. Hi viewers, kindly tell us where you're watching from and what time it is. Juniper slides a key card across the counter. Penthouse 602. Enjoy your stay, Mr. Rourke. Cashin doesn't thank her. Men like him never do. 10 feet away, a woman stands near the marble pillar, arms crossed, face carved from pure jealousy. Valera Knox. Black dress, black heels, black intentions. She followed Cashin here because she knows what everyone else is about to learn. That the biggest mistake a dangerous man can make is assuming the quietest woman in his life isn't watching. Across the lobby, another man observes the scene with surgical precision. Dorian Crest. Tall, silent, dressed in a black suit that costs more than most people's cars. No expression, no hurry. He watches Cashin the way a wolf watches prey that doesn't know it's already surrounded. Cashin guides Morella toward the elevator, his confidence so thick you could choke on it. The storm outside grows louder. Juniper glances at Dorian. Something unspoken passes between them. A look that says it's about to happen. Cashin presses the elevator button. The golden doors begin to open, and that's when he feels it. A shift in the air, a coldness that has nothing to do with the rain outside. He turns his head, just slightly, the way animals do when they sense a predator nearby. Someone is watching him. Not Dorian, not Valera, not the staff, someone else. The executive office doors across the lobby, massive, mahogany, designed to intimidate, stand closed. But Cashin swears he sees movement behind the frosted glass. Morella tugs his arm. Baby, come on. I'm freezing. He doesn't move. The hair on the back of his neck stands up. Valera pulls out her phone, fingers moving fast across the screen. She's texting someone. Her lips curl into something that isn't quite a smile, but definitely isn't innocent. Dorian shifts his weight, hands folded in front of him, still watching. Juniper's fingers pause on her keyboard. The elevator dings. The doors slide open, revealing an empty car bathed in soft golden light. Cashin steps inside, pulling Morella with him. Just before the doors close, he glances back at the executive office one more time. The mahogany doors remain shut, but now, through the frosted glass, he sees a silhouette. Tall, elegant, unmoving. The elevator doors slide shut. And somewhere in the building, a woman in a tailored black coat checks her diamond-lined cuffs, takes one last breath, and prepares to walk into the lobby where her husband, the man who thought he could betray her and walk away, is about to learn what quiet justice really means. Who do you think is behind those executive doors? Drop your guess in the comments before the next chapter drops. Valera Knox watches the elevator doors close, and her smile finally breaks free. She's been waiting 3 months for this moment. 3 months since Cashin tossed her aside like yesterday's newspaper. 3 months of watching him parade Morella around like she's special, like she's different, like she won't end up exactly where Valera did. Discarded, humiliated, forgotten. But Valera isn't forgotten. She's vengeful. Her fingers fly across her phone screen. The message is simple, direct, perfect. He's here. With her. Make sure he sees her. She hits send. Across the lobby, Dorian's phone vibrates silently in his pocket. He doesn't check it. He already knows what it says. Juniper pretends to process paperwork, but her eyes track every movement in the lobby. She's worked here long enough to recognize tension when it walks through the door. And tonight feels like a storm trapped inside glass walls, waiting to shatter. The elevator carrying Cashin and Morella climbs toward the penthouse. 43rd floor, 44th, 45th. Inside the car, Morella leans against Cashin's chest, tracing patterns on his lapel. This place is incredible. How do you even know about it? Cashin's jaw tightens. I know people. What he doesn't say, he's been here before. With his wife. Years ago, back when Seraphine still looked at him like he was worth something, back before he started using her family's money to clean blood off dirty cash. Morella giggles, oblivious. You're so mysterious. I love it. Cashin doesn't respond. His mind is still on that silhouette behind the executive office doors. Something about it felt familiar. Dangerous. The elevator dings. 52nd floor. Back in the lobby, Valera tucks her phone into her purse and straightens her dress. She didn't come here just to watch. She came here to make sure Cashin's world burns bright enough for everyone to see. Dorian moves toward the executive office, his footsteps silent on marble. He doesn't knock. He simply opens the door and steps inside, closing it behind him with a soft click that somehow feels louder than thunder. Juniper exhales slowly. Whatever's about to happen, she knows it's bigger than her paycheck, bigger than protocol, bigger than anything she's ever witnessed in this lobby. A hotel porter walks past carrying luggage. A couple laughs near the bar. A businessman checks his watch. Normal. Everything looks normal. But Juniper can feel it. The pressure building, invisible, inevitable, like water rising behind a dam that's about to break. The elevator reaches the penthouse floor. Cashin and Morella step into the hallway. Soft lighting, thick carpet, silence. Morella spins in a circle, arms out, laughing. This is insane. We should stay here forever. Cashin forces a smile. Sure, but his hands are cold. His chest feels tight, and he can't shake the feeling that something tonight went terribly, irreversibly wrong. He slides the key card into the door. The lock clicks green. They step inside. Morella gasps at the penthouse. Floor-to-ceiling windows, king bed draped in white silk, champagne already chilling in ice. Cashin walks to the window, staring down at the city below. Rain streaks the glass. Lightning splits the sky. Somewhere down there, his wife is awake. Somewhere down there, his empire is built on lies he thought would never surface. Somewhere down there, quiet justice is putting on diamond cuffs and checking her reflection one last time. Morella wraps her arms around him from behind. What's wrong? Nothing. You're lying. He turns, kissing her to shut her up, to distract himself, to convince himself that he's still in control. But downstairs in the executive office, Dorian stands beside a woman in a tailored black coat, showing her a tablet screen filled with bank transfers, shell companies, property deeds, evidence of crimes so deep they could bury a man alive. The woman scrolls through the files without expression. Her face is calm. Her hands are steady. Is he upstairs? She asks quietly. Penthouse 602, Dorian confirms. With the mistress. The woman sets the tablet down. She walks to the mirror, adjusts her coat, smooths her hair. She looks expensive, educated, elegant. She looks like someone who's been waiting a very long time for this moment. Then let's not keep him waiting, she says. Dorian opens the door, and Seraphine Hale-Rourke steps into the lobby where her husband thinks he's safe, where his mistress thinks she's special, where everyone is about to learn that power doesn't protect you when the woman you betrayed owns the ground you're standing on. Valera sees her first. Her breath catches. Juniper's head snaps up. Even the couple at the bar stops talking. Because Seraphine doesn't walk into rooms. She commands them. What do you think Seraphine will do when she confronts Cashin? Comment your predictions now. Seraphine Hale Rourke learned 3 things from her mother before the woman died. 1. Legacy is earned through silence, not spectacle. 2. Men who need to prove their power don't actually have any. 3. Revenge is a dish best served in a 5-star hotel lobby with witnesses. She stands in the executive office now, 5 floors below her husband, checking the final contract one more time. Her signature sits at the bottom, black ink, permanent, legal. As of 8 o'clock this morning, she became majority owner of the Aurelius Royale. Cashin doesn't know yet. He won't know until she tells him. And she will tell him. Publicly. Precisely. Perfectly. Dorian hands her a slim black folder. Everything you asked for. Bank transfers linking him to the Valles cartel. Shell companies registered under your family properties. Tax evasion trails going back 4 years. You use your name, Seraphine. Your legacy. Your inheritance. She doesn't flinch. She's known for months. The discovery happened on a Tuesday. Boring. Ordinary. She was reviewing quarterly statements from her family's real estate portfolio when she noticed discrepancies. Properties listed under her maiden name being used for cash transactions that made no sense. A warehouse in Brooklyn, a storage facility in Queens, a restaurant in Tribeca that never seemed to have customers but always showed profit. She hired Dorian that same day. By Friday, she had enough evidence to bury Cashin 6 feet under legal concrete. But she didn't move. Not yet. Because Seraphine wasn't raised to react. She was raised to strategize. So she waited, watched, listened, collected every receipt, every email, every careless conversation Cashin thought was private. She learned about Morella 3 weeks later. Red dress, short hair, giggles that sounded like broken glass. Cashin took her to dinner Seraphine paid for, bought her jewelry with money Seraphine inherited, whispered promises in hotel rooms Seraphine's family built. That's when the plan crystallized. Seraphine didn't want to destroy Cashin quietly. She wanted him to feel it. To stand in the center of his arrogance and watch it collapse like a building with no foundation. Her phone buzzes. A text from Valera. He's here. With her. Seraphine smiles. Not a happy smile. A surgical one. Valera was easy to recruit. Scorned women always are. All Seraphine had to do was find her, sit down over coffee, and ask one question. Do you want him to hurt the way he hurt you? Valera said yes before Seraphine even finished her sentence. Dorian closes his tablet. The staff has been briefed. Security knows you're arriving. Legal teams are positioned in conference room B. Federal auditors are on standby for your signal. Good. Are you ready? Seraphine adjusts her diamond cuffs. They were her grandmother's, a woman who survived the Depression, 2 wars, and 3 husbands. A woman who taught Seraphine that elegance is armor and silence is a weapon. I've been ready for months, Seraphine says quietly. She walks to the mirror one last time. Black coat, tailored perfectly, hair pulled back, no jewelry except the cuffs, no makeup except red lipstick the color of consequences. She looks like money, old money, the kind that doesn't shout because it doesn't have to. Cashin married her for that money, used her name to legitimize his crimes. Thought she was too busy being elegant to notice. But quiet doesn't mean stupid. Quiet means dangerous. Dorian opens the office door. The lobby spreads before them. Marble floors, golden chandeliers, soft lighting that makes everything look like a movie set. Except this isn't fiction. This is justice. Seraphine steps into the lobby, heels clicking rhythmically against marble. Staff members straighten. Guests glance up. The air shifts. Juniper sees her first and freezes mid-keystroke. Valera's smile widens. Dorian follows 2 steps behind, hands folded, silent as always. Seraphine walks toward the front desk. She doesn't hurry. She doesn't need to. Juniper finds her voice. Mrs. Rourke. Miss Hale, Seraphine is fine, she says gently. Is my husband still here? Juniper swallows. Penthouse 602. Perfect. Seraphine glances at the elevator, then back at Juniper. Call security. Tell them to lock down that floor. No one goes up. No one comes down. Not until I say otherwise. Juniper's fingers tremble as she reaches for the phone. Valera moves closer, unable to resist. He has no idea, does he? Seraphine meets her eyes. Would you like to watch? Valera's grin could cut glass. I wouldn't miss it. Dorian hands Seraphine the black folder. Evidence. Proof. Ammunition. She holds it like a loaded gun. Her phone buzzes again. This time it's a message from hotel security. Owner has arrived. Everyone prepare. Seraphine takes one slow breath. Then another. This is it. The moment she's been building toward. The moment Cashin's arrogance meets her intelligence. The moment betrayal gets billed. She walks toward the elevator, presses the call button. The doors slide open immediately, like they've been waiting for her. She steps inside. Dorian follows. Valera watches from the lobby, practically vibrating with anticipation. The elevator begins to rise. 43rd floor, 44th, 45th. Seraphine stares at her reflection in the polished doors. Calm, composed, ready. Cashin thought he could cheat her, use her, discard her dignity like it meant nothing. Tonight, he learns what happens when you underestimate a woman who's been planning your downfall since the day she discovered your lies. The elevator climbs higher. 50th floor, 51st, 52nd. The doors open onto the penthouse hallway. Silence, thick carpet, dim lighting. And at the end of the hall, behind door 602, a man who has no idea his empire is about to collapse stands with his mistress, thinking he's untouchable. Seraphine walks toward the door, heels silent on carpet, folder in hand, justice wrapped in diamond cuffs. She stops in front of 602, raises her hand, and knocks. What will Cashin's face look like when he opens that door? Drop your reaction predictions below. The knock echoes through penthouse 602 like a gunshot. Cashin freezes, champagne glass halfway to his lips. Morella looks up from the bed where she sprawled, confused. Are you expecting someone? No. His voice comes out flat. Wrong. Another knock. Calm, patient, deliberate. Cashin sets the glass down, his hand shaking just enough to notice. He walks toward the door, every instinct screaming at him to run, but there's nowhere to go. He's 52 floors up, trapped in a cage of his own making. He looks through the peephole, and his entire world stops. Seraphine stands in the hallway, perfectly still, looking directly at the peephole like she knows he's watching. Her face is calm. Her eyes are not. Cashin's throat closes. Morella calls from the bed. Who is it? He can't answer. Can't breathe. Can't think past the single thought screaming through his skull. She knows. She knows everything. Seraphine knocks again. 3 times. Measured. Final. Cashin's hand moves to the door handle like it's being controlled by someone else. He opens it slowly, revealing his wife standing in the hallway with a man in a black suit and a black folder that looks like a death certificate. Seraphine. His voice cracks. What are you doing here? Checking on my property. Her tone is silk over steel. May I come in? It's not a question. She steps past him before he can respond, Dorian following like a shadow. Cashin's brain scrambles for explanations, excuses, anything that might salvage this nightmare. Morella sits up on the bed, clutching a pillow against her chest. Her eyes go wide when she sees Seraphine. Elegant, expensive, and radiating the kind of power Morella will never understand because it's inherited, not borrowed. Oh, Morella starts. His wife, Seraphine says calmly. Seraphine, hail Rourke. And you must be the woman my husband thinks is special. The room turns arctic. Morella's face drains of color. She looks at Cashin like he just betrayed her, which is almost funny considering he's been betraying Seraphine for months. Cashin tries to recover. Seraphine, this isn't what it looks like. Don't. She raises one hand, and somehow that single gesture silences him more effectively than shouting ever could. We both know exactly what this looks like. What I'm curious about is whether you know what this looks like. Dorian opens the black folder, turning it so Cashin can see the pages inside. Bank statements, property deeds, shell company registrations, every crime documented, every lie exposed, every piece of evidence needed to destroy him laid out like a surgical plan. Cashin's knees go weak. Seraphine walks to the window, looking out at the rain-soaked city. Lightning splits the sky, illuminating her profile. "I bought this hotel 3 weeks ago," she says conversationally, like she's discussing the weather. Anonymously, of course, through a series of carefully structured transactions designed to ensure you'd never see my name on the paperwork until it was too late. Cashin can't speak, can't move. "Do you know why I bought it, Cashin?" He shakes his head. She turns to face him. "Because this was the last property in my family's portfolio you hadn't corrupted. The last clean place. The last piece of my legacy you hadn't touched with your dirty money and dirtier secrets." Morella whispers, "I should go." "Stay," Seraphine commands without looking at her. "You're part of this now. You should see how it ends." Cashin finds his voice. "Seraphine, please. We could talk about this. In private." "No." The word lands like a verdict. "Your betrayal was public. My justice will be the same." Dorian hands her another document. She doesn't even glance at it before speaking. "You used my name to register shell companies in Brooklyn, Queens, and New Jersey. You filtered cartel money through properties I inherited from my grandmother. You turned my legacy into a laundromat for your crimes." Each sentence hits like a hammer. "You thought I wouldn't notice. You thought I was too busy being elegant, too focused on charity galas and museum boards to see what you were doing with my family's wealth." Cashin tries to step toward her. "I never meant." "You meant exactly what you did." Her voice drops to something quiet and terrifying. "You saw a woman with money and assumed she came with weakness. You married me for access, used me for legitimacy, and thought you could discard my dignity whenever you wanted." Morella makes a sound that might be a sob. Seraphine finally looks at her. "He told you that you were different, didn't he? That you were special, that his wife didn't understand him." Morella nods, tears streaming. "He told me the same things once." Seraphine's expression softens slightly. "The difference between you and me is that I eventually opened my eyes." She turns back to Cashin. "I've spent the last 3 months building the case against you. Bank records, federal cooperation, witness testimonies, everything needed to ensure you never use my name again." Cashin's voice comes out hoarse. "You're gonna turn me in?" "I already did." She checks her watch. "Federal agents should be arriving in the lobby in approximately 4 minutes." The floor tilts beneath Cashin's feet. "Seraphine, please. You don't get to say my name anymore." Her voice is arctic now. "You lost that privilege when you dragged it through dirt." Dorian's phone buzzes. He glances at the screen. "They're here." Seraphine walks toward the door, then pauses. "Security will escort your mistress out through a private exit. She's not part of this. But you?" She looks at Cashin one final time. "You stay exactly where you are." "Seraphine, Mrs. Hale Rourke," she corrects. "We're not married anymore. I filed 3 days ago." The door closes behind her with a sound like a coffin lid. Cashin stands frozen in the penthouse, champagne going flat, Mistress crying, empire crumbling, and the rain outside hammering against windows like applause. Downstairs, Seraphine walks back into the lobby where federal agents in dark suits are waiting, where Valera watches with vindication burning in her eyes, where Juniper holds her breath behind counter. Dorian walks beside her, quiet as always. Seraphine stops at the marble desk. "Juniper, effective immediately, you're promoted to assistant manager. Your salary doubles tonight." Juniper's eyes go wide. "Ma'am, I don't, thank you. You notice details others missed." Seraphine's smile is small but genuine. "That's valuable." The lead federal agent approaches. "Mrs. Rourke, we're ready to proceed." "Ms. Hale," she corrects gently. "And he's in penthouse 602. Waiting." The agents move toward the elevator. Seraphine watches them go, then turns to Valera. "Thank you for your help tonight." Valera's smile is sharp. "Oh, I should be thanking you. We both got what we wanted, did we?" Valera tilts her head. "What did you want, Seraphine?" Seraphine looks up at the chandeliers, at the marble, at the legacy her family built with clean hands and honest work. "I wanted my hotel back." The elevator dings. Agents disappear inside, and somewhere 52 floors up, Cashin Rourke realizes that the quietest woman in his life was always the most dangerous. How do you think Cashin will react when the agents walk in? Comment your thoughts before Chapter 5. The lobby of the Aurelius Royale feels different now. Charged. Electric. Like everyone knows something enormous just happened, even if they don't understand exactly what. Seraphine stands near the marble desk, hands folded, watching the elevator numbers climb. 43rd floor. 44th. The agents are almost there. Dorian moves beside her. You should prepare for what comes next. I am prepared. Are you? He keeps his voice low. Once he's arrested, the media will descend. Your name will be attached to this. People will ask questions. Let them. Seraphine's voice is calm. I'm not hiding from the truth. He's the one who should have been afraid of it. Across the lobby, guests whisper behind hands. Staff members exchange glances. Something big is happening. Everyone can feel it. Juniper grips the edge of the counter, watching Seraphine like she's witnessing history. Because she is. Valera stands near the pillar, arms no longer crossed, jealousy replaced with something that looks almost like respect. She walks over slowly. How long did it take to plan all this? 3 months to execute, Seraphine says. A lifetime to understand that I deserved better. He'll fight back. Men like him always do. With what? Seraphine's smile is cold. He used my money for his crimes. I own the evidence. His associates will turn on him the second they realize he can't protect them anymore. Valera studies her. You're terrifying. You know that? No, I'm just done being underestimated. The elevator dings. 52nd floor. In penthouse 602, Cashin hears heavy footsteps in the hallway. His heart hammers. Mirella has stopped crying. Now she just stares at him with the slow realization that she was never special, never different, never anything more than another lie in a life built on deception. Cashin, she whispers. What did you do? Before he can answer, someone pounds on the door. Hard. Official. Federal agents. Open the door. Cashin's legs won't move. Sir, open the door now or we'll enter by force. Mirella scrambles off the bed, grabbing her shoes. I need to leave. I can't be here. Stay where you are, ma'am. A voice commands through the door. The lock clicks. Hotel security must have given them access. The door swings open, and 3 agents in dark suits step inside, badges out, faces carved from professional neutrality. Cashin Rourke? He nods, throat too dry to speak. You're under arrest for money laundering, tax evasion, conspiracy to commit fraud, and racketeering. The lead agent pulls out handcuffs. You have the right to remain silent. The words blur together. Cashin barely hears them. All he can think about is Seraphine, quiet, elegant Seraphine. Standing in the hallway with that folder, with that expression, with power he never knew she possessed. The handcuffs click around his wrists. Cold, final, real. Mirella presses herself against the wall, crying again. Ma'am, you're free to go, an agent tells her. We have no charges against you at this time. She runs for the door, red dress sparkling under lights that suddenly feel too bright, too exposing. She doesn't look back, not once. Downstairs, Seraphine watches the elevator descend. 51st floor, 50th, 49th. Her phone buzzes. A text from Dorian, it's done. She doesn't respond, just watches the numbers drop. Juniper asks quietly, Are you okay, Ms. Hale? Seraphine considers the question. Is she okay? Her husband is being arrested. Her name will be all over the news by morning. Her private life is about to become public spectacle. But her legacy is protected. Her inheritance is clean. And the man who thought he could use her is finally facing consequences. Yes, she says simply, I think I am. The elevator reaches the lobby. The doors slide open. Cashin Rourke steps out in handcuffs, flanked by federal agents. His black suit is wrinkled now. His neck tattoos look less threatening, more desperate. His eyes scan the lobby and land on Seraphine. She doesn't look away, doesn't smile, doesn't gloat. She just stands there, diamond cuffs catching chandelier light, legacy intact, dignity restored. Cashin's mouth opens. He wants to say something. Apologize, beg, explain. But what words could possibly matter now? Seraphine speaks first, voice carrying across marble with perfect clarity. Goodbye, Cashin. Not I'm sorry this happened. Not I still love you. Just goodbye. The agents guide him toward the main doors. Guests part like water. Staff members stare. Cameras flash from somewhere. Hotel security, maybe, or a guest who knows a story when they see one. Valera watches him leave, arms crossed again, satisfaction carved into every line of her face. Juniper exhales slowly. Dorian stands beside Seraphine, silent guardian of quiet justice. And Seraphine? She turns away before Cashin even reaches the doors. Turns back to the desk, to her hotel, to the legacy she just reclaimed. Juniper, she says calmly, could you arrange for Penthouse 602 to be completely cleaned and redecorated? I'd like it ready for actual guests by tomorrow. Of course, MS. Hail. The main doors close behind Cashin. Rain and flashing lights swallow him. Somewhere, sirens wail. Inside the Aurelius Royale, everything returns to expensive normalcy. Guests return to their conversations. The pianist starts playing again. Champagne keeps flowing. But everyone in that lobby knows they just witnessed something extraordinary. Not a scene, a reckoning. Seraphine walks toward the executive office, heels clicking, Dorian following 2 steps behind. Just before she reaches the door, he speaks. That was impressive. That was necessary. What happens now? She pauses, hand on the door handle. Now I rebuild. Clean my family's name. Make sure everyone knows exactly what he did and exactly what I did to stop him. And after that, Seraphine glances back at the lobby, at the marble, the chandeliers, the legacy her grandmother built. After that, I make sure no one ever underestimates a quiet woman again. She steps into the office. Dorian follows, closing the door. On his tablet, a new notification appears. A list. Names. Addresses. Details. People connected to Cashin's empire. Associates. Partners. Accomplices. Dorian shows it to Seraphine. You said you wanted to dismantle everything he built. She studies the screen. Politicians. Businessmen. Lawyers. A whole network of corruption hiding behind expensive suits and fake smiles. Her finger hovers over the first name. Yes, she says quietly. I did say that. Dorian's expression doesn't change, but something shifts in his eyes. Respect, maybe, or recognition that he's working for someone far more dangerous than he initially realized. How long will this take, he asks. Seraphine sits behind her new desk, mahogany, elegant, powerful, and opens her laptop. Outside, rain hammers against windows. Inside, quiet justice plans its next move. As long as it needs to, she says. She clicks on a first name in the list. A city councilman who accepted bribes. A judge who buried evidence. A police captain who looked the other way. All of them connected to Cashin. All of them about to learn what happens when you build power on someone else's legacy without permission. Seraphine's fingers hover over the keyboard. Dorian watches, and just before she starts typing, he asks the question that changes everything. Are you ready for the next name on the list? What do you think Seraphine will do next? Who should she go after first? Drop your predictions now before Chapter 6 reveals the Empire's total collapse. The black sedan pulls away from the Aurelius Royale, red and blue lights reflecting off rain-slicked streets. Inside, Cashin sits between 2 agents, wrists still cuffed, watching his hotel, her hotel, disappear into the night. His mind replays the moment Seraphine walked into that penthouse, folder in hand, empire in her eyes. He thought he knew her. 15 years of marriage, and he never saw it coming. Back in the lobby, Seraphine doesn't watch him leave. She's already moved on, already sitting in the executive office with Dorian, laptop open, second target identified. Judge Marcus Trevane, 58 years old, 23 years on the bench. 17 cases dismissed with Cashin's fingerprints all over them. Evidence buried. Witnesses intimidated. Justice purchased like cheap real estate. He accepted payments through his daughter's art gallery, Dorian explains, pulling up bank statements. Clean on the surface, rotten underneath. Seraphine studies the numbers. How much? $2.3 million over 4 years. Her jaw tightens. That money came from her family's accounts. Her grandmother's legacy used to corrupt a judge who was supposed to protect people. Can we prove it? Dorian nods. I have transaction records linking the gallery deposits to the shell company's cash-in controlled. The timing matches dismissed cases perfectly. Send everything to the federal prosecutor handling Cashin's case. Tonight. Already done. Seraphine sits back, exhaustion finally creeping in. Her phone keeps buzzing. Reporters, friends, family members who somehow already heard what happened. She ignores all of them, except one call. Her mother's lawyer. She answers. MS. Hail. I'm calling to inform you that several news outlets are requesting statements regarding tonight's events. Tell them I'll release a statement tomorrow, through proper channels. Understood. There's also the matter of tomorrow, she repeats firmly. Everything can wait until tomorrow. She hangs up. Dorian closes his tablet. You should rest. I should finish what I started. Seraphine. Don't. She looks at him. Don't tell me I've done enough. Don't tell me to stop. This isn't about revenge. This is about making sure what he built doesn't survive him. Dorian studies her face, the exhaustion barely visible, the determination carved into every feature. Your grandmother would be proud. Something cracks in Seraphine's expression, just for a second, then it's gone. She taught me that legacy is the only thing that outlasts us, Seraphine says quietly. Cashin tried to destroy mine. I won't let that stand. Her phone buzzes again. This time it's a news alert. Mafia boss arrested at luxury hotel. Wife behind takedown. The story is already spreading. By morning, everyone will know her name. Her face. Her family history. Every detail of her private life exposed to public consumption. Cashin wanted that. He wanted her humiliated. But humiliation requires shame. And Seraphine feels none. Downstairs in the lobby, Juniper processes checkout for a couple who keeps glancing at her like she's suddenly famous. Word spreads fast in hotels. Staff gossip travels faster than elevators. Is it true, the woman asks, lowering her voice, that the owner just had her husband arrested? Juniper smiles professionally. I'm not at liberty to discuss guest matters, but your checkout is complete. Thank you for staying with us. The couple leaves, already pulling out phones to text friends about what they witnessed. Valera still stands near the marble pillar, unable to leave. She watches staff whisper, watches guests stare at the executive office door, watches history settle like dust after an explosion. A man in a sharp gray suit approaches her. Reporter. She can tell by the hungry look in his eyes. Excuse me, were you here when? No comment. Valera turns to walk away. I'm willing to pay for your story. She stops, turns back. My story, eyewitness account, exclusive interview. I can offer 5 figures. Valera's smile is sharp enough to cut. You can't afford what I know. She walks past him toward the exit, heels clicking with satisfaction. Tonight gave her something better than money. It gave her vindication. Watching Cashin Rourke dragged out in handcuffs was payment enough. Outside, rain has slowed to a drizzle. The city gleams under streetlights. Valera pulls out her phone, scrolling through contacts until she finds the name she wants. Demetria Kane, nightclub manager. Another woman Cashin used and discarded. Another woman who deserves to know that justice finally came for him. She sends a text. Turn on the news. You're going to want to see this. 3 dots appear immediately. Then what happened? Valera types back. His wife happened. Back in the executive office, Seraphine stands at the window, watching the city she was born into. Towers of glass and steel. Power concentrated in buildings designed to touch clouds. Her family built pieces of the city. Her great-grandfather constructed the subway line that runs beneath this hotel. Her grandmother financed the museum 3 blocks east. Her mother endowed the hospital where Seraphine was born. Legacy built on honest work, until Cashin tried to corrupt it. What's the next name? She asked without turning around. Dorian hesitates. Are you sure you want to do this tonight? I'm sure. He opens his tablet again, scrolling through the list. Captain Raymond Cleary. Police. East Precinct. He's been on Cashin's payroll for 6 years. Buried evidence in at least 9 cases. Protected shipments. Warned him about raids. Seraphine's reflection in the window looks like a ghost. How much did Cashin pay him? Monthly retainer. $50,000. My money, she says flatly. Yes. She turns to face Dorian. I want him arrested by Monday. Seraphine. Going after a police captain requires. I don't care what it requires. Her voice is ice now. He wore a badge while taking bribes with stolen money. He deserves worse than arrest. Dorian nods slowly. I'll need time to compile everything. You have 48 hours. He doesn't argue, just closes his tablet and stands. You should go home, get some rest. This is only beginning. I know. He walks to the door, pauses. For what it's worth, you handled tonight perfectly. Seraphine almost smiles. Perfectly would have been never marrying him. Maybe. But you can't change the past. No, but I can control what comes next. Dorian leaves, door clicking shut behind him. Seraphine sits alone in the office that used to belong to someone else, in the hotel that's been in her family for 3 generations, surrounded by legacy she fought to protect. Her phone buzzes. Another news alert. Evidence suggests months-long investigation. They're digging already, trying to understand how a society wife managed to take down a mafia boss. But they're asking the wrong question. The question isn't how. It's why did everyone assume she couldn't? Seraphine opens her laptop, pulling up files Dorian compiled. Judge Trevane, Captain Cleary, City Councilman Jerome Harris, Developer Nathaniel Cross, Lawyer Veronica Sims. All of them connected to Cashin. All of them profiting from crimes financed with her inheritance. She starts typing an email to the federal prosecutor, attaching evidence for Judge Trevane. Subject line: additional evidence in Rourke case. Her fingers fly across keys. Professional, precise, devastating. She hits send. One down. For more to go. Outside her office, the Aurelius Royale continues its nightly rhythm. Guests sleep in expensive sheets. Room service delivers champagne. Elevators rise and fall like mechanical heartbeats. But something has shifted in the building's foundation. Everyone who works here knows it. Everyone who witnessed tonight knows it. Power doesn't always announce itself with violence. Sometimes it just walks into a lobby in diamond cuffs and changes everything. Seraphine closes her laptop, stands, straightens her coat. Tomorrow, the media will descend. Tomorrow, lawyers will call. Tomorrow, people will demand explanations. But tonight, she reclaimed her legacy. She walks out of the executive office, through the lobby where Juniper still works behind the desk, past the marble floors that reflect chandelier light like captured stars. She doesn't look back. She never looks back. Outside, her car waits, black sedan, driver holding an umbrella against the drizzle. She slides into the back seat, and the door closes with the sound of a vault locking. Where to, Ms. Hale? The driver asks. Home. The car pulls away from the Aurelius Royale, taillights disappearing into Manhattan's endless night. And in a holding cell 20 blocks away, Cashin Rourke sits on a metal bench, still in his expensive suit, still wearing handcuffs, finally understanding that the quietest person in his life was always the most dangerous. What happens when powerful men realize they've been outplayed? Comment who you think will go down next. The federal courthouse on Center Street opens at 8 in the morning. By 7:45, reporters already crowd the steps, cameras ready, questions prepared, hungry for any detail about the case that broke overnight. Inside, Assistant U.S. Attorney Khadija Monroe sits in her office, reading through evidence that appeared in her inbox at 11:30 last night. Bank statements, property records, transaction trails linking Judge Marcus Trevane to Cashin Rourke's criminal enterprise. She's prosecuted corruption for 12 years. She knows solid evidence when she sees it. This is airtight. Her phone rings. The U.S. Attorney himself. Monroe, tell me you've seen the Hale files. Reading them now. Can we move on, Trevane? She scans the last page, a document showing the judge's daughter's art gallery receiving payments the same week 3 major cases against Rourke associates were dismissed. Yes, but we need to move fast. Once word gets out that we have this, people will start destroying evidence. How fast? Today, silence on the other end. Then do it. The line goes dead. Khadija stands, grabbing her jacket. She's been waiting years for a case like this. One that actually matters. One that might restore some faith in a system everyone thinks is rigged. She walks down the hall to her team's bullpen. Evans, Garcia, Miller, conference room. Now, 3 prosecutors look up from their desks, recognizing that tone. Something big is happening. 5 minutes later, they're staring at evidence projected on the wall. Judge Marcus Trevane, Khadija says, "We have him on 17 counts of corruption, bribery, and obstruction of justice. We arrest him today, quietly. No media until he's processed." Evans raises his hand. The evidence came from Seraphine Hale, Cash and Rourke's wife. Ex-wife, technically. She's been investigating her husband for months. Everything she's given us has checked out. Garcia leans forward. "If we arrest a sitting judge, the backlash will be irrelevant." Khadija interrupts. "The law applies to everyone, including judges who think they're above it." She assigns tasks, warrants, coordination with FBI, media strategy. Within an hour, the machine is moving. By noon, Judge Marcus Trevane will be in custody. By evening, the entire city will know that Seraphine Hale isn't finished. Across town, in a brownstone in Brooklyn Heights, Seraphine wakes to sunlight streaming through curtains. She slept 4 hours. It's not enough, but it'll have to be. Her phone shows 63 missed calls. She ignores them all except one, her mother's lawyer. "Ms. Hale, we need to discuss your public statement. Draft something emphasizing my commitment to protecting my family's legacy and cooperating fully with federal investigations. Make it clear I discovered criminal activity and reported it immediately. Some outlets are suggesting you orchestrated. I discovered crimes being committed with my family's money and assets. I reported those crimes to authorities. That's not orchestration. That's responsibility. Understood. I'll have something ready by noon." Seraphine hangs up, walks to her kitchen. Coffee, toast, routine, normal things that ground her in reality while everything else explodes. Her townhouse is quiet. 3 stories of inherited elegance in a neighborhood her family has owned property in for 4 generations. Every piece of furniture tells a story. Every painting has history. Cashin never understood that. He saw money, not meaning. Her phone rings again. "Dorian, Trevane is being arrested in 2 hours," he says without preamble. "Monroe's team is moving today." "Good. The media is going to connect it to you immediately. Let them." Seraphine. "I'm not hiding, Dorian. I spent months hiding what I knew. I'm done with that." Silence. Then, understood. "What about Captain Cleary? Is the evidence ready?" "Yes, but going after a police captain while the judge case is breaking might be strategic." She finishes. "It shows a pattern. Shows this wasn't just about my husband. It was about dismantling an entire network." Dorian pauses. "You're thinking bigger than I realized. My grandmother used to say that if you're going to clean something, clean it completely. Half measures just spread the dirt around." Your grandmother sounds terrifying. She was. That's why people respected her. They discussed timing, logistics, coordination with federal prosecutors. By the time they hang up, Seraphine has a clear plan for the next 72 hours. Trevane today, Cleary by Monday. The others would follow. She showers, dresses in a Navy suit. Professional, powerful, press ready. Because today, she knows cameras will find her. By 1 o'clock, Judge Marcus Trevane is led out of his chambers in handcuffs. Court staff stand frozen. Lawyers stare. Bailiffs who've worked with him for years don't know where to look. The judge says nothing. His face is pale, eyes distant, already calculating legal strategies that won't save him. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarm. "Judge Trevane, do you have a comment? Is this connected to Cash and Rourke? Did Seraphine Hale provide the evidence?" He doesn't answer, just walks to the federal vehicle with his head down, expensive suit looking suddenly cheap under afternoon sun. The story breaks on news channels within minutes. Sitting judge arrested in expanding Rourke corruption case. Seraphine Hale's evidence leads to second arrest. How deep does the corruption go? In her Brooklyn townhouse, Seraphine watches the coverage on mute. She doesn't need sound to understand what's happening. The city is waking up to something it should have noticed years ago. That power built on corruption doesn't just harm individuals. It rots institutions. Her phone rings. Unknown number. She almost ignores it, then decides to answer. Ms. Hale. A woman's voice. Young. Nervous. My name is Amara Price. I'm a journalist with, no comment. Please just listen. I'm not trying to sensationalize this. I want to write about why it matters. About what it means when someone with your resources chooses to fight back instead of look away. Seraphine pauses. Why does that story matter to you? Because most people look away, Amara says quietly. Most people with power protect power. You didn't. That's worth examining. Seraphine considers. Send your questions via email. I'll review them. No promises. Thank you. That's all I'm asking. They hang up. Seraphine walks to her window, looking out at tree-lined streets where brownstones stand like monuments to old money and older values. Her grandmother's voice echoes in memory. Legacy isn't what you inherit. It's what you protect. She protected hers, but the cost is becoming clear. Her name will forever be attached to this scandal. Her privacy is gone. Her life will be scrutinized, questioned, dissected by people who don't know her and never will. Some will call her brave. Others will call her vindictive. She doesn't care about either label. She cares about making sure the next woman who discovers her husband's crimes doesn't feel powerless. Her phone buzzes. Text from Dorian. Captain Cleary just requested a lawyer. He knows what's coming. Seraphine types back. Good. Fear means guilt. She sets her phone down, returns to her laptop. There's still work to do. Councilman Harris needs investigating. Developer Cross has properties that require examining. Lawyer Sims left trails that need following. The list shrinks, but slowly. Justice doesn't arrive in explosions. It arrives in paperwork, evidence files, and prosecutors willing to do their jobs. Seraphine opens a new document, starts typing notes for the next case. Her fingers move fast, precise, relentless. Outside, Brooklyn moves through its afternoon. People buy groceries. Kids play in parks. Life continues, oblivious to the quiet war being waged in courtrooms and federal offices. But in holding cells and lawyer offices across the city, powerful men are starting to understand that their protection just evaporated. The woman they underestimated is dismantling their empire piece by piece. And she's just getting started. Which corrupt official do you think deserves to fall next? Drop your vote in the comments. Captain Raymond Cleary sits in his precinct office, door closed, blinds drawn, phone pressed to his ear. I'm telling you, they have everything, he hisses. Bank records, meeting logs, they know about the shipments. The voice on the other end, his lawyer, sounds tired. Ray, if they had everything, you'd already be arrested. Trevane thought the same thing yesterday. Now he's in federal custody. Silence. Listen to me carefully, his lawyer says. Don't talk to anyone. Don't delete anything. Don't run. If they're building a case, running makes you look guilty. I am guilty. Then don't make it worse. Sit tight. Let me see what I can negotiate. The line goes dead. Cleary sets his phone down, hands shaking. 28 years on the force. 28 years of climbing ranks, earning respect, building a reputation. 6 years of selling that reputation to Cash and Rourke for $50,000 a month. He thought it was untouchable, thought the system protected its own. But the system doesn't protect criminals who wear badges. It buries them deeper. His office door opens without a knock. Lieutenant Janae Foster stands in the doorway, face unreadable. Ray, we need to talk. Not now, Foster. Yes, now. She steps inside, closes the door. Internal Affairs called. They're opening an investigation into your financial records. His stomach drops. On what grounds? Anonymous tip. Someone sent them evidence of deposits that don't match your salary. Anonymous, which means Seraphine Hale or her investigator sent it. Which means they're not just going after him legally. They're destroying his career from inside. I want a union rep. You'll get one. But Ray, Foster's voice drops. If even half of what they're saying is true, you're done. Not just fired. Prison. She leaves, door clicking shut behind her. Cleary slumps in his chair, the weight of consequences finally landing. Everything he built, reputation, pension, respect, crumbling because he took money from a man whose wife turned out to be smarter than all of them combined. Across the city, in her Brooklyn townhouse, Seraphine receives an email from Dorian. Subject: Cleary investigation confirmed. She opens it. Internal affairs is moving. Federal prosecutors are coordinating. By Monday morning, Captain Raymond Cleary will be arrested on charges of corruption, bribery, and obstruction of justice. 3 down, 2 to go. Her phone rings. Khadija Monroe. Ms. Hale, we need to meet. When? Today. My office. 3 o'clock. We need to discuss how much of this you want to be involved in publicly. Seraphine checks the time. It's 1:30. I'll be there. She dresses carefully, charcoal suit, minimal jewelry, hair pulled back. Professional armor for walking into the federal building where reporters will absolutely be waiting. Her driver pulls up at 2:45. The federal courthouse is only 20 minutes away, but traffic in Manhattan makes promises nobody can keep. They arrive at 2:58. Reporters swarm the moment her car door opens. Ms. Hale, how does it feel to take down your husband? Are you afraid of retaliation? How much money did he steal from you? Seraphine walks past them without expression, without comment, security clearing a path to the entrance. Inside, the building is all marble and authority, metal detectors, security checkpoints, the weight of federal power in every corner. Khadija Monroe meets her on the 3rd floor, extending a hand. Ms. Hale, thank you for coming. You said it was important. It is. This way. They walk to a conference room where 3 other prosecutors sit. The team handling Cashin's case. Evidence boxes are stacked against one wall. Whiteboards covered in names, dates, connections. Seraphine recognizes several names. Judge Trevane, Captain Cleary, Councilman Harris. Her husband's empire mapped like a disease. Khadija gestures to a chair. Please sit. We need to discuss how public you're willing to be with your involvement. I'm already public, Seraphine says. Every news outlet has my name. True, but testifying is different. If we bring RICO charges against Rourke and his associates, you'll likely be called as a witness. Your testimony would be critical. You can establish how he used your family assets to facilitate crimes. Seraphine doesn't hesitate. I'll testify. You understand what that means? Cross-examination. Defense attorneys attacking your credibility. Media coverage of every word you say. I understand. Khadija leans forward. Why? You've already given us everything we need. You could step back, let us handle it, protect your privacy. Because stepping back is what he expected, Seraphine says quietly. He married me thinking I'd be too polite to fight back. Too concerned with reputation to expose him. I won't give him that satisfaction. One of the other prosecutors, Garcia, speaks up. You realize his defense will argue you orchestrated this out of revenge for his affair. Let them argue. The evidence doesn't care about my motivations. Khadija smiles slightly. No, it doesn't. They spend the next hour discussing trial strategy, evidence presentation, potential testimony. Seraphine answers every question with precision, her memory for financial details impressing even seasoned prosecutors. By the time she leaves, it's after 5. Reporters have multiplied outside. This time, she pauses on the steps. Cameras flash. Microphones thrust forward. Ms. Hale, do you have a statement? She looks directly at the cameras. I discovered that my husband was using assets I inherited from my family to facilitate criminal activity. I reported those crimes to federal authorities immediately. I will cooperate fully with their investigation and testify if called. That's all I have to say. Are you afraid of retaliation? No. Why not? Because people who built power on stolen money don't have real power. They have leverage, and leverage disappears the moment someone refuses to be leveraged. She walks to her car, ignoring follow-up questions. The clip will be on every news channel within an hour. Her face, her words, her refusal to be victimized. Inside the car, she finally exhales. Her driver glances in the rearview mirror. Home, Ms. Hale. Yes, home. They pull away from the courthouse, leaving reporters scrambling for angles that will make her into either a hero or a villain. Seraphine doesn't care which narrative wins. She cares about finishing what she started. Her phone buzzes. Text from Dorian. Councilman Harris just resigned. Effective immediately. She types back. Did we get him? Not yet, but he knows we're coming. Resignation means he's trying to avoid arrest. Won't work. No, it won't. Seraphine sets her phone down, watching the city pass outside tinted windows. Buildings stacked like promises. Streets carrying people who have no idea that above them, in offices and courtrooms and federal conference rooms, the architecture of corruption is being demolished brick by brick. By Monday, Captain Cleary will be arrested. By next week, Councilman Harris will follow. Developer Cross. Lawyer Sims. Every name on Dorian's list. All of them connected to Cashin. All of them about to learn what happens when you build an empire on someone else's legacy without permission. The car stops at a red light. Pedestrians cross, heads down, lost in their own worlds. Seraphine wonders how many of them have been hurt by corrupt judges, bribed police, politicians who sold their votes to the highest bidder. She can't save all of them, but she can make sure the men who hurt them face consequences. That has to be enough. The light turns green. The car moves forward. And somewhere in a federal holding cell, Cashin Rourke sits alone, finally understanding that his biggest mistake wasn't cheating on his wife. It was underestimating her. Cashin's empire is crumbling. Who falls next? Comment your predictions before the final chapters. 3 weeks later, the trials begin. Cashin Rourke sits in federal court, expensive suit replaced with standard issue clothes, his neck tattoos looking less threatening under fluorescent lights. His lawyers. 3 of them, all expensive, lean close, whispering strategies that won't save him. Across the aisle, Khadija Monroe stands at the prosecution table, evidence boxes stacked beside her like ammunition. The gallery is packed. Reporters, curious citizens, people who've waited years to see powerful men face actual consequences. In the third row, Seraphine sits with perfect posture, diamond cuffs catching courtroom light. She doesn't look at Cashin, doesn't need to. The judge, a woman named Honorable Imani Rothschild, brought in from another district specifically because she has no connection to Trevane, bangs her gavel. The United States versus Cashin Michael Rourke. Charges include racketeering, money laundering, tax evasion, conspiracy to commit fraud, and obstruction of justice. How does the defendant plead? Cashin's lead attorney stands. Not guilty, Your Honor. The trial lasts 6 days. Prosecutors present evidence methodically. Bank statements showing millions filtered through Seraphine's inherited properties. Shell companies registered under her family name. Transactions timed to coincide with criminal activity. Judge Trevane's daughter testifies, reluctantly, about payments received through her art gallery. She didn't know where the money came from, she claims. Just deposited checks her father said were legitimate investments. The jury doesn't believe her. Captain Cleary cut a deal before trial. Reduced sentence in exchange for testimony. He sits in the witness box, looking 20 years older, explaining how he warned Cashin about raids, buried evidence, protected shipments. Why did you do it? Khadija asks. Money, Cleary says flatly. He paid me $50,000 a month. I have 2 kids in college. I convinced myself it wasn't really hurting anyone. But it was hurting people, yes. On the 4th day, Seraphine testifies. She walks to the witness stand with the same calm she carried into the Aurelius Royale. Sworn in, seated, ready, Khadija begins gently. Ms. Hale, can you explain your relationship to the defendant? I was married to Cashin Rourke for 15 years. We divorced 3 weeks ago. During that marriage, did you become aware of criminal activity? Yes. Approximately 4 months ago, I discovered financial discrepancies in my family's real estate accounts. Properties I inherited were being used for transactions I didn't authorize. What did you do? I hired a private investigator. We documented everything. Once I had sufficient evidence, I contacted federal authorities. Why didn't you simply confront your husband? Seraphine looks directly at the jury. Because confronting him would have given him time to hide evidence. I wanted justice, not an argument. Cashin's attorney cross-examines aggressively. MS. Hale, isn't it true you were angry about your husband's affair? Yes. Isn't it possible this prosecution is motivated by revenge rather than justice? No. How can you be certain? Because I didn't fabricate evidence. I reported crimes that were actually committed. The motivation doesn't change the facts. The attorney tries several more angles, suggesting Seraphine orchestrated the investigation out of spite, implying she manipulated evidence, questioning whether she truly didn't know about Cashin's activities earlier. Seraphine answers every question calmly, precisely, without emotion. By the time she steps down, the jury looks convinced. Closing arguments happen on day 6. She walks away, cameras still flashing. That clip goes viral. Viewed millions of times, dissected by lawyers, analyzed by commentators, shared by women who see themselves in Seraphine's refusal to be diminished. In her Brooklyn townhouse that evening, Seraphine pours a glass of wine and stands at her window, looking out at the neighborhood her family helped build. Her phone rings. Dorian, congratulations, he says. For what? For finishing what you started. Is it finished? Silence. Then, no, there are still names on the list. Still people who profited from his crimes. Then we keep going. Are you sure? You've already. I'm sure, she interrupts. Legacy isn't just about what you protect. It's about what you refuse to tolerate. They talk logistics for 20 minutes. New targets, new evidence, new cases. When they hang up, Seraphine doesn't feel exhausted. She feels purposeful. Her grandmother's voice echoes again. If you're going to clean something, clean it completely. She returns to her laptop, opening files Dorian sent earlier. More names, more connections, more corruption waiting to be exposed. Outside, Brooklyn settles into evening. Lights flicker on in brownstones. Families gather for dinner. Life continues. And in a small corner of that life, a woman who was supposed to stay quiet is rewriting the rules about what power actually means. Not violence, not spectacle, not revenge, just consequences served with diamond cuffs and perfect timing. The trials are over, but Seraphine's mission continues. What legacy will she leave behind? Share your thoughts below. 6 months after Cashin's sentencing, the Aurelius Royale hosts its first charity gala under Seraphine's ownership. The lobby glows exactly the way it did the night. Everything changed. Chandeliers dripping light, marble floors polished to mirrors, elegance wrapped around every surface. But tonight feels different, cleaner, like the building itself exhaled something toxic. Seraphine stands near the grand staircase, watching guests filter through the entrance. She wears midnight blue silk, her hair swept back in a way that shows her face completely. No hiding, no shadows. The diamond earrings catch the light with every turn of her head. You look like you belong here, Maya says, appearing at her elbow with 2 champagne flutes. She's traded her usual blazer for a sleek emerald gown that makes her look both fierce and celebratory. I do belong here, Seraphine replies, accepting the glass. That's the difference. Maya grins. There's my girl. Across the room, Detective Torres enters with his wife, a kind-faced woman in burgundy. He catches Seraphine's eye and nods. A gesture of respect between 2 people who've seen the ugliest parts of power and chose to dismantle it anyway. The gala's purpose scrolls across digital displays. Proceeds to benefit survivors of financial exploitation and fraud. Every dollar raised tonight will fund legal aid, counseling services, and educational programs. The hotel itself has been restructured. Transparent accounting, ethical investors, a board that actually answers to oversight. Ms. Valemont, a young woman, approaches hesitantly. She's maybe 25, wearing a dress that's clearly borrowed, her hands twisting nervously. I'm Elena. I worked here before everything came out. I was on housekeeping. Seraphine turns fully toward her. Elena, I remember your name from the staff files. You do? Elena's eyes widen. I read everyone. What can I do for you? Elena takes a shaky breath. I just wanted to say thank you. My sister, she was one of the investors who lost everything when Cashin's scheme collapsed. She was going to lose her house, but the restitution fund, it saved her. It saved us. Something cracks open in Seraphine's chest. She reaches out and squeezes Elena's hand. Thank you for telling me. That's exactly why this matters. As Elena moves away, dabbing at her eyes, Luca appears. He's grown a beard in the past 6 months, softening the sharp edges of his face. He looks lighter. The prosecutor's here, he says quietly. She wants to say hello. They find Sarah Chun near the bar, looking unexpectedly relaxed in civilian clothes. Ms. Valemont, Mr. Dorian. Hell of a party. Hell of a case, Seraphine replies. Chin's expression turns serious. I've been doing this work for 15 years. Most of the time, the money disappears into offshore accounts we'll never touch, and the victims get pennies on the dollar, if that. What you two did, documenting everything, preserving the evidence, building an airtight trail, it meant we could actually recover assets. Do you understand how rare that is? We understand what it's like to be used, Lucas says simply. Chin raises her glass. To not being used anymore. They drink to that. The evening progresses with speeches and auctions. Maya takes the podium to announce that the hotel's new operating model is being studied by hospitality schools as a case study in ethical business transformation. Former employees who were wrongfully terminated have been offered their positions back with better wages. The penthouse, Cashin's former lair, has been converted into a conference center for nonprofit organizations to use free of charge. Seraphine finds herself on the balcony overlooking the city. The night air is cool, carrying the scent of autumn and possibility. You keep escaping your own party, a familiar voice observes. She turns to find Luca leaning against the doorframe, hands in his pockets. Just taking it in, she says, 6 months ago, I thought my life was over. I thought I destroyed everything. You did destroy everything, Luca says, stepping closer. Everything that deserved to be destroyed. And you? She studies his face. How are you sleeping these days? Better. He joins her at the railing. Therapy helps. Turns out talking about your feelings is more effective than I thought. She laughs, a real laugh, the kind that used to feel impossible. Who are you and what have you done with Luca Dorian? Same person, just learning to be a different version. He glances at her. You inspired that, you know. Watching you choose truth over comfort. Watching you burn it all down because it was the right thing to do. We burned it down together. Yeah. His smile is crooked, genuine. We did. Below them, the city pulses with light and movement. Somewhere out there, Cashin sits in a cell, his empire reduced to prison walls and supervised phone calls. The accounts have been seized, the co-conspirators prosecuted, the web of corruption untangled thread by thread. It isn't perfect justice, it never is. Some money will never be recovered. Some victims will carry their losses forever. Some wounds don't fully heal. But something. It's accountability. It's truth. Do you think about him? Luca asks quietly. About what he said that last day? Seraphine knows he means Cashin's final words in the courtroom. His insistence that she'd become just like him. Ruthless, calculating, willing to sacrifice anyone for her goals. I think about it, she admits. And then I think about Elena's sister keeping her house. I think about the staff getting fair wages. I think about every person who'll benefit from tonight's fundraiser. She turns to face Luca fully. Cashin took because he could. We took because someone had to stop him. That's not the same thing. No, Luca agrees. It's not. Music drifts from inside, something classical and soaring. Through the windows, Seraphine can see guests dancing, laughing, celebrating not just the gala, but what it represents. Survival, justice, rebuilding. Come on, Maya calls from the doorway. You two are missing the good champagne. They head back inside together, back into the warmth and light. Seraphine catches her reflection in one of the mirrors lining the hallway. And for the first time in as long as she can remember, she recognizes the woman looking back. Not Cashin's protege, not his victim, not as anything, just Seraphine, someone who made terrible mistakes and found the courage to correct them. Someone who learned that redemption isn't about being perfect, it's about being honest. The Aurelius Royale has been reborn, and so has she. As the night winds down and guests begin to depart, Seraphine stands once more in the lobby where it all began. She thinks about the woman who walked through these doors months ago, desperate and afraid, armed with nothing but evidence and hope. She thinks about Cashin's voice. Everyone has a price. And she realizes he was wrong. Some things can't be bought. Truth, justice. The version of yourself you can look at in the mirror without flinching. Those things you have a fight for. And she did. Ready to go home? Maya asks, touching her shoulder gently. Seraphine takes one last look around. At the gleaming marble, the crystal chandeliers, the space that once held so much darkness and now holds possibility. Yeah, she says and means it. I'm ready. They walk out into the night together. Three people who faced down corruption and won, carrying with them the knowledge that sometimes the only way out is through. Sometimes you have to become the thing you fear most. Powerful, decisive, uncompromising. Not to destroy others, but to destroy the systems that protect predators. Sometimes justice requires falling into the abyss and choosing to climb back out. And sometimes the greatest revenge isn't destruction, it's transformation. The lights of the Aurelius Royale shine behind them as they disappear into the city, and somewhere in those gleaming windows, you can almost see it. Not just a building, but a promise. That those who abuse power will be held accountable. That truth, no matter how buried, eventually surfaces. That even in the darkest corruption, there are people who will choose what's right over what's easy. The Aurelius Royale stands as testimony to all of it. A monument not to one man's greed, but to the courage it takes to dismantle empires, one truth at a time. And in the end, that's the story worth telling. The end.